Context. Now this is quite interesting. This is what the examiners say context is. So this must have been a question about Crooks or Curly's wife, or Candy. They're used to show some discrimination in society. This must be Crooks, segregation in society. Black people kept away from white people. The roles of work in society. To be a real man, you need to be working. Candy can't face a life without work. You know, that's why he offers to go and work on the ranch. Crooks needs a life with work. He offers to go and work on the ranch. Now, there's nothing in there about the Dust Bowl, about the Great Depression, about the concentration camps that the Californians set up to put the migrant workers in. The words migrant workers never appear. And so this is a message from the examiners. Don't tell us all the stuff you know about 1930s America. We don't care. We do care about your ideas. So how do you think the novel uses the idea of poverty, or uses the idea of the migrant workers? And so that's your job. Think about how the history affects the novel. Don't just write about the history. They don't care. Question 21. How does Steinbeck use a relation in the novel? Again in part B, the examiner is giving the A grade away. Write about the whole novel. I want to give you an A grade. Again, the context, look. Nothing about migrant workers, nothing about the Dust Bowl, nothing about the Depression. In other words, you could answer this. What do you know about disability in 1930s America? Well, nothing. But yes, you do, because you've got Lenny in the book, and you've got Candy in the book with one hand. Yeah, and all the answers are in your reactions to the novel. The answers are already there. You haven't got to go and study any history for it. Oh look, at last we've got the American dream, the idea of being canned. Do you remember that George says, don't tell anyone. If the boss finds out, they're likely to can us. And this idea that people have turned so spiteful towards each other that if they let anyone know that they've got a chance of realising their ambition, the bosses will take it away from them. Use that. It'll be relevant to most questions. Right, I've covered that. We'll skip some questions and we'll move on to what context means. The problem with candidates writing about the context is they didn't link it to their knowledge of the text. So I kept saying that, go back to the text. Don't worry about the history. Most candidates could write all about the Depression and the American dream. Didn't impress the examiners though. They want to know what you think about the novel. Well, what do you do for an A star? The very best candidates wrote about an interesting range of contexts. For example, identifying the role of Aunt Clara in George and Lenny's friendship, and then contrasting the presentation of Aunt Clara as an idealised portrayal of a homemaker who makes cakes and shows concern for the childlike Lenny's welfare. So, in other words, the novel is the context. Yeah? How do people behave in this society, in this novel? That's all you need to think about. Let's think about how women are portrayed here. $2 for a glass of whiskey, $2.50 to buy sex with a woman. What's Steinbeck saying about how women are valued in this society? Yeah? Thank you. It's a rhetorical question, which is spot on. Yeah? So, I can probably get at least 6 shots of whiskey from a bottle, and so that's at least 3 times, my math's not very good, 3 times more valuable than sex with a woman is a bottle of whiskey. Incredible. And what's even more incredible is that Susie, if you remember, has got 6 girls. And she's not the only brothel in town. There's also Clara's. You know, so this is a society that treats women with no respect, and even worse, the women are so poor that they have to put up with it. You know, there are lots of women who have to sell themselves. Now, why is that important? Well, that explains a lot about Curly's wife, doesn't it? You might think she's ridiculously stupid to suddenly shack up with Curly after only just meeting her. But if the alternative is real poverty, that might one day mean she has to sell herself, suddenly marrying the boss's son on a ranch in the most fertile the most fertile state in America, California, suddenly that doesn't look so stupid. It's not romantic, but it's going to give her a hell of a life compared to what she had before.